What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Hogwarts Legacy and how many years you're going to be playing as yet again. This was discovered through the Gameplay Showcase 2 that we may have a slip-up. We may have our answer. Now, I'm almost positive I've said that before, right? And I guess that's the cool thing with this game is we go back and forth. Even when I feel pretty positive on a thing, somebody points something out that maybe leads us to another, right? And in this case, I do think the answer is 1 year. Now, of course, it's always been, I believe, a discussion against or back and forth of 1 year and then 3 years, right? Going through 5, 6, 7, and then leaving, most likely, school, right? Well, you have to leave school. Maybe you come back as a professor or something. Or 1 year. Now, I've said in live streams, I think you're going to leave Hogwarts at the end of the game no matter what. So if you're a 5th year and you end 5th year, instead of going back for your 6th year, I think, bold prediction, I think you're going to leave the school. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in other videos. But what we have here is in the gameplay showcase, Alan, when he's talking, and I want to give him credit because he does a really good job of skirting the line, but without saying for quite a while, but he does, and I'm going to say slip up. I mean, this could have been on purpose, right? Like, I assume it was a mess up, but at the same time, he could have been doing it so that people like me make videos on it, right? And I mean, Chandler kind of said that towards the end, like they expect people to talk about their stuff. So maybe, but I do think because if you listen through, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the first third of the gameplay showcase, right? So this is when you're flying around, whether it be broom or hippogriff, because this is where he says it, really in the first like 10 minutes of the show. And I believe it's the 9-minute 24-second mark if you guys want to, play it for yourself without me talking or anything like that. So Ben asks him some pretty good questions about like weather, and does weather affect gameplay, or is it just kind of like a story thing? And what's cool about it, or what's funny, and again, why I believe it's a slip up, is originally the answer, he doesn't say, eventually he'll say your year, through your year, and year as in singular, 1 year, not like years, right? And in the context, he's saying that they are narrative kind of devices, right? So you'll, not necessarily, but you'll see like a winter, like a bold title that says winter, and you'll know you're going into winter time, and that advances the story because the time of year is changing. So that's, and we've heard that before, right? We've heard that before, that the seasons really are going to be like Harry Potter, where, they play out a couple days in the fall, and then God knows what they do, for the rest of that semester, because they just jump them to like the next holiday or the next season, right? And I like that. By the way, I like the decision to do that in Hogwarts Legacy. I think it's going to feel like the movies and the book, but like we visually saw it in the movies. So I think it's going to feel like that, which I like that idea. But up until this point, they have been pretty careful to not say basically like the seasons are going to change one time each, right? Because if we have winter more than once, well, then you're going to be there more than 1 year, right? Because you got winter and you have to go to the following year. So they've always, in my opinion, from everything we've heard of them saying out loud, they've always been very specific in how they talk about the seasons, and to not give away if it's like a plural thing, like it's going to happen more than one time, or if it's a singular thing. But he did slip up here, and he said through your year, you're going to be able to recognize the season change through your year, meaning it's just 1 year. Now, how does summer work with that? Well, it could be like an endless season of summer at the end of the game. It could also be the beginning of the game, like when you first load in. It would be September 1st. That is still considered summer, right? So it could be that. And the only reason I bring up that is because we've seen summer so often, including in the first gameplay show. I don't know. I think the season was summer in the beginning of this one. It could actually have been spring or fall, but specifically in the first gameplay showcase, I remember, maybe they said it in the second one, but they did say in the first one that it's taking place in the summer. And so the question is, well, is it like the first couple, days of school? Is it early on in the game, or is it like at the very end of the game and it just kind of goes on indefinitely, right? It just continues. So that's interesting. And again, I don't really think, you could say like there is no wrong answer, like doing a 1 year versus a 3 year thing. I think a 1 year makes sense. I think it would feel like, again, Harry Potter. The debate would be like, do you go back to school for year 6. So do we literally do a Hogwarts Legacy 2 where you go back to the school? And that's a tough one because you'd be reusing pretty much the same world, and that's a whole separate conversation that I actually had some pretty cool talks with people yesterday on Twitter. So I want to talk about that in the future, but I do think it'll make it feel more like the movies. And also when you think about like the villains and stuff, to have it be like, yes, like Voldemort is like a, you know, an arching theme that goes on throughout the entire you know, Harry Potter thing, but for this, like Ranrock and Rookwood, would they be around for 3 years? Like, you can't solve the issue and their rebellion is going on for that long. Like, that 3 years is a long time to finish off their story and finish off, you know, what they're doing. So 1 year definitely would be more in line with, again, Harry Potter. Kind of there's a centralized threat. Yeah, there's a looming threat. And again, maybe they can allude to that, right? Maybe they can allude to something bigger than those 2 villains and say, hey, this is something that maybe we can play around with in the next game. But for this game, we're going to worry about them, which would be similar to, say, you know, Sorcerer's Stone or Chamber of Secrets. Like, you have the central threat, you got the basilisk, you got, you know, this stuff that's going on around the school during the year, and then yeah, there's also Tom Riddle and there's also Voldemort, you know, going on. So it would, I think, line up and feel pretty similar to the books and movies. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. 1 year, 3 years, let me know. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I'll see you all on the next one.